Okay, let's see if that's going to work. Okay, it's live streaming. Oh, it's probably also recording down to the mobile. Come on. Nope, doesn't. Well, yeah, we do seem to have. No, that's from the last one. Okay. Oh well, I forgot it's actually the main SIM card is actually another mobile that was like I was trying to do the right thing, right, and then I actually failed actually to do the right thing. Because this is the one that actually has the other card that there's still a good amount of. Well, actually, I also have a pretty good connection at the moment, apparently. Usually that doesn't seem to be the case, you know. Anyway, so I was listening to these different songs, and I have a lot of other things that I need to look into. But yeah, we still need the last verse, but I also translated the German into Danish, and I'll see if I can make anything maybe out of it at some point. Okay, so let's close that down, and we have some why South Africans are refusing the vaccine. Well, apparently the world is still around, right? That's just. Well, I might actually need to restart the game before it actually goes in effect. We'll see. But anyway, they're still talking about the nutty things that's going on in the world. I suppose there's all this bullshit going on. It seems like I need to restart them. Oh well, no, let's take this one. But the game is absolutely not fluent.
destroy the content. 60% of the people. And then gives you an idea of kind of backlog that now has to be made up in terms of building credibility.
The rest of the world looks at South Africa as still basically a success story. Those of us who are old enough to remember
what it goes in regards to the speed now. Oh, and in regards to all this Africa and all that, yeah, worldwide bullshit, you know. Anyway, I was looking into the well, we would just use it historically, of course it's historical.
What we have are copies.
Don't really need to. Still back though. Minor thing, so.
Now let's talk about the very famous testimonial line written by Josephus, a very famous Romano-Jewish historian. What do we mean by Romano-Jewish? You see, Josephus was born in Jerusalem, and he was the leader of the forces in Galilee that fought against the Romans. So initially, he was a...
It's such performance.
The thing is that when he faced the legions of Vespasianus in 67, he was defeated and captured.
I don't know if you can actually
didn't kill him is because supposedly
take the resolution down would be nice, but
Vespasianus would become emperor, and in fact,
I don't know if there's something on the mobile for games.
He does become the emperor of Rome, and he likes Josephus because of this. So he keeps him first as a slave, then as a translator, and eventually, when Josephus fully defected to the Roman side, he is granted Roman citizenship, which is what we mean by saying that he was Romano-Jewish. He even served as the translator when Titus, Vespasianus' son, led the siege of Jerusalem in AD 70. He wrote the Antiquities of the Jews, in which he mentions several biblical figures, including Jesus Christ, John the Baptist, James, the brother of Jesus, Pontius Pilate, the Sadducees, the high priests, and the Pharisees. So all of this can be controversial. At this time there was a wise man who was called Jesus, and his conduct was so good and was known to be virtuous. And many people from among the Jews and other nations became his disciples. Pilate condemned him to be crucified and to die. And those who had become his disciples did not abandon his discipleship. They reported that he had appeared to them 3 days after his crucifixion, and that he was alive.
I don't see a problem with it actually, you know. Why wouldn't Josephus, you know, write what he wrote, you know? And of course I have him quoted from another place which they usually forget. But anyway, never talk about.
And the mention of the It is also interesting to see that there is a another writer, a Christian writer, the very first one to speak about.
I don't see why, he talks about maybe he was the Messiah or something like that. Why would he, the Jews are still waiting for the Messiah. So why would that be? I don't see that. I guess the same because they don't want to have the Bible, Yeah. You know, Jesus might have been, one of these Jews that doesn't want to say well, anyway, so let's go forward. It's interesting that it's lacking so much. Well, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm.
They sang in alternate verses against Christ, as to a God, and bound themselves by his sovereign oath not to do any wicked deeds, but never to commit any fraud, theft, or adultery, never to falsify the word, nor deny and trust when they should be called upon to the living God. After which it was their custom to separate and then reassemble to partake of food, the food of an ordinary and innocent kind. He writes a letter to Emperor Darkijah-Anders, and he specifically says that the teachings of the Christians were, open quotes, excessive and contagious superstition, close quotes. Also says that Christians attracted people of all social classes, of all genders, and of all ages. Now let's read the reply from Emperor Darkijah-Anders. The method you have pursued, my dear Pliny, in sifting the cases of those denounced to you as Christians is extremely proper. It is not possible to lay down any general rule which can be applied as the fixed standard in all cases of this nature. No search should be made for these people. When they are denounced and found guilty, they must be punished. With the restriction, however, that when the party denies himself to be a Christian and shall give proof that he is not, that is, by adoring our gods, he shall be pardoned on the ground of repentance, even though he may have formerly incurred suspicion. Informations without the accuser's name subscribed must not be admitted in evidence against anyone, as it is a very dangerous precedent, and by no means agreeable to the spirit of the age. Now, this is extremely significant.
Spirit
First and foremost,
of the age.
what does the emperor mean when he says, the method you have pursued, my friend, in the cases of those denounced to you as Christians is extremely proper? Well, you have to understand what Pliny the Younger and Darkijah-Anders, both of them had the duty of supervising trials of Christians, which is precisely why they were. So in this letter, Emperor Darkijah-Anders is saying, yes, very good, you're doing well. They need to be stopped. But even more interesting is what he says about his gods, and this really gives us the first perspective, as the first part of those two introductory lines that I mentioned at the beginning. The perspective of the Romans. Now this is the religious perspective of the Romans. When people tell us, why didn't the Romans do something if there was a man teaching in Judea, such as Jesus? Why don't we have much more information about it? Well, the answer is, as you can read from the letter, the words of the emperor himself, from the point of view of the Romans, religious freedom was something that was always granted. In other words, the Romans didn't care what god you were worshipping in your lands. Once it became a Roman province, all they wanted to make sure is that it remained under Roman control. But a certain degree of religious freedom was always given. So we shouldn't imagine that to the Romans it really meant much that a preacher was going around preaching some doctrine that they thought was strange. To the point of view of the Romans, you can worship whatever god you want. We beat you in battles, Our gods are more powerful than yours, and that's all that matters. So why does the situation change now? Well, the reason why the situation changes now is because we're talking about Christians in Rome. So it is only when these followers of Christ enter Rome and Greece, so very, very close provinces to Rome, that the Roman authorities, the central power of Rome, starts to be actually interested in Christians. As far as Jesus was ministering in Judea, they did not care. Even the miracles, if you think about it, even if miracles were reported to Roman emperors or Roman authorities, they would have been shrugged off either as superstition, as we can see, in fact, the word is used. But even if they were to believe it, this is how it would go. Our Kaiser, there is a man who is performing miracles in Judea. A magician in Judea? What sort of miracles? He can raise people from the dead. What people? Who did he raise? Oh, a friend of his by the name of Lazarus. Is that it? He raised a man? Okay, good for him. The point I'm trying to draw here is the only miracle that could have really interested Roman authorities could have been, sir, this man made an entire legion disappear. Or, sir, this man can multiply swords and armor. In other words, from the perspective of the ancient Roman, if it doesn't directly threaten Roman military control, it does not matter. From a Roman point of view, Jesus' birth means absolutely nothing, because Judea was considered to be a backwater province in the fringes of the empire. And even his ministry, which, if we are to believe the Christian reports, was only 3 years, wouldn't have mattered much to the Romans, which explains why, if they heard of him, they would have called him either a magician, a superstitious wise man, which is exactly what we're finding in the letters. It only starts mattering for the Romans once the followers grow in numbers and enter Rome. As far as the validity of Pliny the Younger's testimony, it's complete general consensus that it's authentic. Also because we have the letter of response of Emperor Trajan, which again speaks about the same things, so the two things can be double-checked and cross-referenced. It's authentic. Now let's talk about the words of Gaius Suetonius Tranquillus, who was the chief secretary of Emperor Hadrianus. He says, because the Jews of Rome caused continuous disturbances at the instigation of Chrestus, Claudius expelled them from the city. After the great fire of Rome during Nero's reign, punishments were also inflicted on the Christians, a sect professing a new and mischievous religious belief. Again, notice, folks, the negative approach and negative point of view of these mentions towards the Christians, but most importantly, of historical significance, the mention of the instigator, meaning Christus, which is again a different spelling of Christus, both being period for the time. Now, the validity of these testimonies at the moment is not questioned in the academia. And that is because you have to remember that the Romans were particularly meticulous when it came to both records and these oral period. Now let's talk about non-Roman mentionings, and one of the most interesting ones is a letter written by Mara bar Serapion of Syria. To give you a little bit of context, at this time the writer was in prison and he was writing this letter to his son. He says, what advantage did the Athenians gain from putting Socrates to death? Famine and plague came upon them as a judgment for their crime. What advantage did the men of Samos gain from burying Pythagoras? In a moment, their land was covered with sand. What advantage did the Jews gain from executing their wise king? It was just after that that their kingdom was abolished. God justly avenged these 3 wise men. The Athenians died of hunger. The Samians were overwhelmed by the sea. The Jews, ruined and driven from their land, lived in complete despair. Socrates did not die for good. He lived on in the teachings of man. Pythagoras did not die for good. He lived on in the statutes of men. Nor did the wise king die for good. He lived on in the teaching which he had given. Now, even though on this letter there is no mention of the word Christos or the name Christos, or should we say title, Messiah, it is still interesting because he does call him the King of the Jews, which we know was not only an expression that was not used by the Christians, but it was an expression that is linked to what was written on top of the cross of Jesus with the letters in Greek, which translate Jesus Nazarenus Rex Judae, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. But again, beyond Rome, we have got the satirist Lucian of Samosata. In his writing, he's actually mocking the Christians. Here is what he says. The Christians, worship a man to this day, the distinguished personage who introduced the novel right and was crucified on that account. You see, these misguided creatures start with the general conviction that they are immortal for all time, which explains the contempt of death and voluntary self-devotion, which are so common among them. And then it was impressed on them by their original lawgiver that they are all brothers from the moment that they are converted and deny the gods of Greece and worship the crucified sage and live after his laws. All this they take quite on faith, with the result that they despise all worldly goods alike, regarding them merely as common property. Now again, this is one of those non-Roman mentions that do not use the term Christ specifically, but they do mention the crucifixion. They call him a sage and a lawgiver. And also further on in his writing, Lucian mentions that the Christians were using sacred writings. But we still have more. In the Jewish Talmud, we have a mention of the crucifixion of Christ, which is again a non-Christian mention. It reads, on the eve of the Passover, Yeshua was hanged. For 40 days before the execution took place, a herald went forth and cried, he is going forth to be stoned because he has practiced sorcery and enticed Israel to apostasy. Anyone who can say anything in his favor, let him come forward and plead on his behalf. But since nothing was brought forward in his favor, he was hanged on the eve of the Passover. This was written between 70 and 200 AD. We already know that the majority of historians, scholars, and biblists all understand and agree that 1 AD, the traditionally accepted date of birth of Jesus, is incorrect. It's because of a calculation error made during the creation of the Gregorian calendar. That is also strengthened by the testimonies that we have on the Gospels themselves. Both Luke and Matthew associate Jesus' birth with the time of Herod the Great. Now notice, the time of Herod the Great, not his son, Herod the Great, who was the king of the Jews. Now Herod the Great, historically, and that's a historically proven date, dies in 4 BC. So already we can see that the date of birth of Christ cannot be 81, but it has to be sometime before 4 BC. I know it sounds strange to say that Christ's birth was sometime before Christ, but now another important event that can help us understand when exactly that happened is a Roman census, because it is mentioned again in the Gospels and in other accounts. But what is a Roman census? In ancient Rome, a census was the act of counting the people and evaluating their property for taxation in a given province. Now, Roman census happened all the time, so a number of censuses were most likely performed throughout the Roman world under Centius Saturninus. We know that an important census happened in AD 6, but then again that one is no use for us. But we also know that another very important census happened exactly in that area in 8 BC. Now this helps us because then we understand that Jesus' birth most likely occurred between 8 BC and 4 BC. Given the information of the murder of the innocents that again we have at the hand of King Herod, so obviously before he's dead, when he wanted every child born between age 0 and age 2 to be killed, and that does happen around the time, I believe that the most historically probable date would be 6 BC. Now that's significant because if Jesus was born in 6 BC, then at what age was he actually crucified? Another event in Jesus' life that can help us pinpoint the date of the crucifixion is something that happened before, and it's very, very important. That is the baptism of Jesus, and at the same time of the baptism, something else happens. It's the famous event, gospel event, whereby Jesus literally rebukes the merchants at the temple because they were selling animals, and he didn't like that. It's a very famous gospel event. That event happened very closely to his baptism. The accounts tell us that that incident at the temple happened after 46 years from the building of said temple. Let's now cross this gospel reference and a Jewish reference with, again, Josephus Flavius, the Roman historian. He tells us that, again, this specific temple was built in 20 BC, which means 20 BC plus 46 years, we are in 26 AD, which would be the year of the actual baptism of Christ. Now, connecting this with the previously explained information of Christ's actual date of birth being 6 BC, that would mean that his baptism occurred at age 32. This already creates a completely different story, because it also tells us that most likely he didn't actually die at age 33, but he died older than that. And it is very possible that his death or crucifixion, even though I can't really give you a specific date, would have happened sometime before 37 AD, which is the death of Emperor Tiberius. This is interesting because it pushes everything a bit forward. It tells us that he was alive longer than we thought. It tells us that he was born before than we thought. And it also means that if you look at these two dates now, the historian Josephus Flavius that we are reading today was born specifically in AD 37, which means he would have been born sort of immediately after Jesus' crucifixion. So he would have been basically contemporary. And Publius Cornelius Tacitus himself, who was born in 55, it would have been very close to the very end of Jesus' life and then the beginning of the ministry of his followers. All of this is interesting because it means that the majority, not all of them, but the majority of the accounts that we have read today would have happened within approximately 40, 50 years from Jesus' death, which is extremely close, and we could say basically contemporary from a historical standpoint. I mean, when we talk about a lot of the information that we say about Alexander the Great, well, some of the things are actually 400 years after. Not everything, but some of the things are 400 years after, and they are still considered valid. So I would say that these events and the testimonials that we have read, the majority are relatively contemporary. So, with all being said, in conclusion, what is my conclusion about the historical figure of Jesus or Yeshua? We have enough historical information to state confidently that Jesus of Nazareth existed and was a historically proven figure. His appeal extended beyond Jews and included Greeks. Jewish leaders of the day had an unfavorable opinion of him. He was mostly ignored by Roman authorities until his followers started preaching, which justifies the reason why we don't have more information about him while he was still alive. He was then crucified when Pontius Pilate was prefect of Judea.
So far, so good.
That concludes our journey, historical journey into the life of Jesus as far as his historical figure is concerned. If you liked this video, please thumbs up, and if you want me to continue this and make it into a series, we could discuss, for example, what he would have probably looked like and sort of examine early art and modern art and see what gets closer to a more historically probable appearance and look, and many other interesting topics. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for all of you who have watched up to this point, because I mean this is a very long video. Thank you so much, and remember, the Metatron has spread his wings. Goodbye.
Oh, I don't know about that, but anyway, so that was interesting, nonetheless, you know, but yeah, I guess not the best video, nothing new, although, you know, but that doesn't change my view. Of course, Jesus was real, you know, like, you know, you gotta be kidding me, going to deny Jesus Christ. Oh, give me a break. Oh, it's still, you know, I think we'll actually be able to go on for a couple of hours. That's actually pretty good. So, for the future, I think I'll buy cans with oil instead of water. It doesn't really taste that good either when it's been in water. Yeah. So oil, I can at least use the oil for something. You know, usually I would just throw it out in the past, but that's kind of stupid when you can actually just use it for some light, you know. Might not be much, but it's absolutely better than nothing, you know. And it doesn't really seem to smell that much. Which is surprising, because sometimes when but I guess that's bigger light, and I guess that maybe makes more sod or whatever it's called. I have some Hebrew songs here from this woman. I don't know if there's anything interesting there. I found one that was, it's a couple of them actually that she. There's also some that is just terrible. Some.
השם ישגיח
Anodized machined aluminum fiddle bodies. Okay. Anodized. I have no idea what that. What millennium is? Well, that's plastic. In all three registers, interesting. They use the word register. That's not working. Fibble bodies. What is a fibble body? I have no idea. Fibble. Yeah. Let's see. No, wait. Ah, okay, that's actually the one where she's singing the other song, I think, that I actually would like to know what that song is about. Anyway, all carbony vessels have anodized machined aluminium fiber bodies with hard rubber tips. Marble ebonite. That's the song that I would like. I wonder what ebonite is. Maybe it's like a. Oh, yeah. So it's like a marble or something like that. Marble, okay, marble. Yeah, it's kind of a marble thing. Interesting. Interesting. So it seems like more like a stone, maybe. Anyway, that was I have pretty much downloaded that and still haven't found out what song it is. But so move tuning to the fibbles. Yeah, that's the thing here. Remove for tuning and cleaning muscle. After cleaning up our okay. That sounds terrible, that song. Absolutely not. Yeah, terrible. Anyway, here's a phone number, so you can call them up. We have these 1, 2, 3. So he gets actually here to number 1, which is an interesting. So he's actually at the C, and then it goes to number 2, 2 or 3. Why 2 or 3? 2, 3. Like why 2, 3? I don't get that. 2, 3, and then 4. What is the 4 thing? I don't know. Oh, okay, so that must be like for the 2, and then if you want to go higher, I'm not sure, but 2 to 2, and then like 3. So I have like 3 there. I guess I have to try it out and see what the flute does. I think it might be a Roman Catholic, but who knows. It's on Facebook apparently. find it, but I guess I can just facebook.com/countbone. Try that. And something.
שלום, מה שמך?
Well, following.
בן שטרית, בת 17, ממושב ניר גלים, ליד אשדוד.
תקשיבי, עזבי הכל, זה השנייה הראשונה שאחד לשיר נכנס לי ללב, ותקשיבי לי טוב, את לא תצאי לי מהלב בזמן הקרוב.
תודה.
זה פשוט כאילו ישר לפה, את מדהימה, את מרגשת, צלילה, נקייה, אהובי. את צריכה להיות איתי בנבחרת.
Is that the same one? It's the same. Why is that twice? Apparently there's a lot of the same here. I don't get that. No. Like maybe it's just YouTube fine. I like another version better for sure. Guess I probably. Nah. Next one. Maybe I have what is. Let's just close it down. I think I have probably the things I want from her anyway. Nope. Yeah, let's just close it down, We have some from her, you know. Oh, what is this? Nope. Maybe this is another one. Maybe this is a concert. Seems like some Middle Eastern thing. It's just not my. Yeah, that's just not me, for sure. Absolutely no way. Okay, so we pretty much got those closed down. That's nice. Have the fiddle thing here, and we have the ebonite, which apparently you can get in different colors as well. And okay, and we have. Oh, someone invited me to join Alberto Rivera. Ooh. Ex sacerdote jesuita compartiendo la historia. I guess that's French or something like that. Italian. Oh well, so yeah, okay. And they have the Crusaders volume, Jack Chick. They're working on different things. So anyway, join group. Oh well, I can't join it when I'm invited you to join the group. Well, I would like to join, but you know, just banned again. Can't really do much about that. El Papa es el sol, el soberano del universo, la luna. Las giberinos de la tierra reflejan su gloria. La tierra son todas los que se postran ante el Dio. En resumen, que el Papa como Jesucristo en la tierra, Dios le había concedido el derecho divino de secretamente controlar a los habitantes de cada país a través de la educación, la política, la economía y el poder militar. Okay. Well, yeah, okay. that's I guess okay. Actually, that didn't go too bad. I think I understood some of it at least. Anyway, that's interesting. So, what wretched sinners we are on this earth. Sinners from conception, sinners from our birth, brought by our transgression into such distress. That's like, oh yeah, das wir armen Sünder. Oh yeah, that's like, Arch wir armen Sünder, unser Missetat. Darin wir empfangen und geboren sind, hat gebraut uns alle in Sülz große Not. Das wir, isn't that actually different than, große Not? Dass wir unterworfen sind dem ewigen Tod. Aus dem Tod wir kunden, tut uns ein Werk. Nimmer wird gerettet. So anyway, we have at least 6 verses here, and we also have a translation into English. Alright. Here we have another. Oh, wir armen Sünder, unser Missetat, darin wir empfangen und geboren. How do I say? Unser Missetat und geboren sind. Okay, there we go. Oh, wir armen Sünder, unser Missetat, darin wir empfangen und geboren. Unser Missetat und geboren sind. Unser Missetat ungeboren sind, hat gebracht uns alle in schöne große Not, dass wir unterworfen sind dem ewig Tod. Ewig Tod, I think ewig Tod. Ewig Tod. Kyrie Sohn. Aus dem Tod. Yeah, I do wonder in regards to the extra thing they put on. Here we have plural text used in Bach's vocal works. O wir armen Sünder. We have the same thing, I think, pretty much. 7 verses. O wir armen Sünder, unser Missetat. And we have one more, I think. Might be, O wir armen Sünder, unser Missetat. That's another German. Have a lot of them. We have the Star of David. The story of the Star of David, the 6-pointed star, represents peace and harmony in Buddhism, while alchemists believed it symbolized nature. How did the Star of David acquire significance in Judaism? Something of man's secret enter into his symbols. Gashum Shalom. Or Sholem. The Star of David originated long before it was adopted by pagan Trinity and all that. I don't. But anyway. The Star of David originated long before it was adopted by the Jewish faith in the Zionist movement. It appeared thousands of years ago in the cultures of the East, cultures that use it to this day. In the past that we know today as the Star of David was a popular symbol in pagan traditions as well as decorative device used in 1st century churches and even in Muslim culture. Yeah, okay. As well as a decorative device used in 1st century churches. Okay, but how is the true Star of David? I guess you could, in some sense, if you wanted to, but you have, the candlelights of the fisherman and okay. In the Hebrew context, the Star of David is actually referred to as the Shield of David, Magen David, a phrase first mentioned in the Babylonian Talmud, not as a symbol, but as an epithet. What is epithet? Epithet.
Epithet.
An adjective of phrase, expression, a quality of attribute regarded as characteristic of the person or thing mentioned. Okay, where did it go with the article? Well, there we go. for God, Parashim 170b. Another link to the shield concept is a Jewish legend according to which the emblem decorated the shields of King David's army. What's more, even Rabbi Akiva chose the Star of David as a symbol of Bar Kokhba's revolt against the Roman Emperor Hadrian. Bar Kokhba name means son of the star. Although it's one of these, so-called messiahs that failed. One more. But it's interesting, you still have the symbol and you have this thing in the middle, which is an interesting thing. What would that be in the middle? It looks like a hat. Let's see here. The Star of David only became a distinctly Jewish symbol in the mid-14th century when the Holy Roman Emperor Charles IV granted the Jews of Prague the right to carry a flag, and they chose a six-pointed star from Prague. The use of the Star of David as an official Jewish symbol spread, and so began the movement to find the Jewish source to trace the symbol to the house of David. Now, I remember something like that, but if you actually look into this symbol, you can find it back to that pagan trinity with the Mother, Father, and Son. But anyway, and as far as I can see, it's, if you see it in paganism, it's the feminine with the masculine merging, producing the Son. Anyway, so on the other hand, of course, you could see it on a different level in regards to Jesus Christ. That would be Mary and the Holy Spirit, and then producing the Son in Mary. So I guess you could, use both as pagan conception and as a symbol, I guess, as a remembrance in regards of God. And Christ becoming flesh in Mary. But Roman Catholics use it in regards to the cookie Jesus, as far as I can see. Father, Mother, and producing the cookie. Anyway, on the other hand, the renowned Kabbalah scholar, Jewish mysticism, scholars Gershom Shalom claim that the Star of David does not originate in any way in Judaism, though he noted the symbol was identified on a Jewish seal. And also we have I think it's the Assyrians or something like that, or one of the groups that was, a scholar or something like that, that was hugely angry at the Jews for stealing the Star of Easter. And there we go with the connection in regards of paganism. So it's apparently also known as the Star of Easter, even if Easter actually has another symbol. So you see the link with these, you have three symbols for the moon, for Venus, and for the sun, the S-U-N, the solar. And they have different names and all that. But then clearly you see this symbol sometimes here and there. And apparently it seems to be the union producing the, having all the three together in some sense. But anyway. So though he noted the symbol was identified on the Jewish seal from the 7th century BCE found in Sidon, as well as in 3rd and 4th century synagogue decorations, the star was found alongside other symbols that were known to not be of Jewish origin. So where can we find representations of the hexagram and hex-pointed star in other cultures? Well, like Sumer, for example. You'll probably also find it in Babylonia, because again it's the same. You can also find it, of course, in Roman Catholic churches nowadays. The hexagram has been used in India for thousands of years. There can be... Oh, what happened? Oh, we're closing down. There we go. I can't remember if it was, who it was, but there was some, that was really angry at the Jews for stealing the, Star of Easter, Could have been the Assyrians, or they could have been some other one in that area. The hexagram has been used in, or Aramaic, I can't remember. The hexagram has been used in India for thousands of years. They can be found in ancient temples and in daily use. In Buddhism, it is used as a meditation aid to achieve a sense of peace and harmony. And in Hinduism, it is a symbol of the goddess Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune and material abundance. I do wonder if that god is but you have sun symbols, symbolic, everywhere, But anyway, let's see. Hexagrams abound in alchemy, the theory and study of materials from which the modern science of chemistry evolved. Magical symbols were commonplace in this ancient theory, and alchemists recruited the six-pointed star to their graphic language of signs and symbols. An upright triangle symbolized water, an inverted symbolized fire, and together describe. But we also know that you have you above as below, or the feminine aspect and the male aspect. Anyway, in alchemy, literally, together they describe the harmony between the opposing elements, and in alchemy literature, the hexagram also represents the four elements, the theory that all matters in the world is made up of four elements: air, water, earth, and fire. Effectively, everything that exists, one could say that the star is an ultimate alchemical symbol, but you still, in alchemy, it's hidden, the hidden science, of things, whatever. You're doing the spiritual thing of trying to make your inner lead into gold, whatever. Anyway, it's alchemy borrowed the idea from the classical Greek tradition that masculinity symbolized wisdom, while femininity symbolized nature, man is philosophy, and woman is the physical world. The illustration below, which appeared in the 18th century alchemical text, shows a man holding a lantern as he follows a woman holding a hexagram, wisdom being the key that reveals the secret of existence. Wow. And you have, besides the hexagram, you also have it in a circle. So again, so the philosopher examined nature, an illustration appearing in the alchemical text from 1749, the Sydney Eldel collection. Anyway, in Islam, the hexagram is referred to as the seed of Solomon, and it adorns many mosques around the world. Until 1945, the emblem was also found on the Moroccan flag. It was changed to the five-pointed star pentagram when the six-pointed star became the emblem of the Zionist movement. The use of this symbol was diminished throughout the Islamic world for the same reason. The hexagram can also be found in medieval and early modern churches, although not as a Christian symbol, but as a decorative motif. Actually, you can, I have one of these pictures of a church outside, where you see the symbol, and in the middle the sun cookie. So it's there, and it's the old pagan bullshit religion. Here we have the hexagram in Islam. Also, the Mohammedans apparently was pretty angry in Egypt when they found the hexagram as well in pagan temples, because they thought it was something in regards to the Jews. Despite its use in other cultures, the Star of David is emblazoned on the Israeli flag, and thus it is considered the undisputed symbol of the State of Israel. Regardless of its origin, a symbol's power, after all, is in the meaning we give to it. Sources for this article are courtesy of Raya Mayaher, Director of Edelstein Collection for the History of Science, and Dr. C.V. Lisham, Director of Gershom Scholem Collection of the National Library of Israel. Of course, they have a way of not telling you about the pagan trinity and keeping that. They want to. I've seen other historians, and they talk about all these different gods in Sumer, which is the biblical Shinar. Of course, we don't want to use the biblical word, of course, And this actually should have been Shumer, not Sumer. They say that would be a little closer to Shinar, right? But anyway, it's the biblical Shinar. But you have to search on Sumer if you want to find those sources. But you can find the symbols. Although the so-called Star of David is not found on that many, but it is found that the pagan trinity is found all over. The star, the so-called Star of David, the union of the process and all that, which still goes on in regards to Roman Catholic whorehouses. In regards to the cookie Jesus, when the father and the mother produces the son. Anyway. Thank you for the clarity of this narrative. Let's see, someone else. Joffrey ben Nathan, or son of Nathan. So the Star of David is not really an ancient Jewish symbol at all. I never liked it and would like to see it replaced either by the menorah. I would too, you know. I don't know why they wouldn't use the menorah. Or by the Israelites carrying the clusters of grapes. There was a plan for a new flag by Ariel Sharon. Unfortunately, he has overcome with a stroke before anything much could happen. I would think, you know, the flag that really should, in regards of Israel, should be the 7, you know, candlestick. And some actually do have the Israeli flag with a candlestick, and I think that would be pretty much or with the 7-pointed candle. Apparently can't find it at the moment, but they have the 7 candles, the menorah on the flag, Israeli flag, or maybe I should have written flag. Maybe that helps. Yeah, we have one, but they still have the Star of David on it. That's not what but I know it exists, you know, I've seen it, and that would absolutely be the one that I would use, if anything, you know, if I would use the flag. Oh, here we go, that's nice. Large menorah, Jehovah, Israel flag. That's much better. And we have another one, but they still have the Star, you know, so-called David. But I can't remember, I had another source where the guy was just totally upset by we can actually buy it. Large menorah, Jehovah, Israel flag. It's nice. That's indoor use recommended. Would be pretty good. No, that would be pretty nice to have. It's less of a, you know, thing, but anyway. Of course, the name of Jehovah is always nice to have. Let's see here. Why did I go with the article? Oh, there we go. Okay. Does it really matter? They say some, you know, yeah, of course it matters. And they talk about the military and they're proud of the symbol and all that, yeah. But I do wonder, in regards to choosing that symbol, you know, if we have a lot of Jewish Freemasons as well, you know, there might be a reason why they chose that symbol, you know, in regards of being Freemasons, in regards to the Roman system and all that. So, just a thought. Anyway, not much sources. Alright, 2 different flags. No, white flag, yeah. No, I have my email. I don't think there's any interesting thing on it. Anything? Nope, nothing new. So yeah, I still have a lot of things in regards of the music and practice, of course, in regard to that specifics. I have Gospel Mission Christian book. We no longer have the item in the... Yeah, it looks like a great place for books, but they can't send to Denmark apparently. I have no idea why they wouldn't be able to send to Denmark. This feels kind of, you know, that's just how it is, I guess. I have one book that on the way, into the Antichrist light show. Well, I already have that one place somewhere, I think. There's another nonsense thing, you know, just haven't opened the things in the background, so you need to push before it actually opens things off. It's I have like these crit things. I don't know what that's for, but no idea. So I was like 4, that's not much. 12. Found a holder for. I don't know if it goes off. Okay, but anyway. God's off. Oh, let's see here. What can we? Truth International National Ministries. Oh yeah, that was in regards to these different books that he released. And there's some clearly some interesting books. The Jesuit Culture Kampf in the United States. The Deep Protestantization in America. But sadly, it's not that easy to get these books. I have the Antichrist Exposed at least, and I guess that's a great start. Of course, we have the Jesuits. The Jesuits Culture Kampf in the United States will be interesting in regards to the Jesuits, and get up on those. Some inventing Spanish Inquisition. The Inquisition did not originate in Spain and did not originally target Jews. In the 1200s, the Pope established the holy, so-called, you always have to have like unholy Inquisition against depraved heresy to deal with breakaway Christian sects. They remained relatively powerless as secular rulers, suspicious of Papal meddling in their own internal affairs, did not allow it access to their country. In a period of more than 200 years, very few heretics were burned at the stake. In 1481, however, after extracting a promise from the Pope that the Inquisition would remain under the Crown's control, thus ensuring that confiscated assets of heretics could revert to the throne, Ferdinand and Isabella, so they went out, and there was an incentive to burn people, because then you could get their stuff, right? Ferdinand and Isabella established the Inquisition in Seville. While it is commonly assumed that the Inquisition was brought to Spain out of the concern that Jews were trying to influence conversos to leave the Christian fold, one prominent historian is of the opinion that by 1481 Jewish consciousness was virtually non-existent among the conversos, and that Jews did not attempt any such outreach. Rather, he believes the Inquisition was an outgrowth of the attitudes of Spain's old Christian population. In the words of one Spanish historian, the Inquisition was a general expression of the soul of the Spanish people. Well, as far as I know in regards of history, the Jewish converts to Christianity began to teach the Gentile Christians about the festivals of God, and the Gentile Christians was teaching the Jews about the Messiah, the Jewish Messiah, and thereby the devil didn't like that, because then you get too close to the truth. Once the court was set up, a 30-day grace period was granted in which voluntary confessions of wrongdoing received light sentences, such as small fines. However, a confessor had to agree to spy on his friends and relatives, and if he did not produce evidence, he would be under suspicion as a heretic and could receive the death penalty. Naturally, this system encouraged great corruption, for people fabricated false evidence against others, either out of fear, jealousy, and hatred, or to receive a reward. To make matters worse, any accused person was not permitted to know the identity of his accusers, or even the evidence, and thus had no way to refute the charges, which were always believed by the court. Defense counsel was allowed, but was virtually impossible to obtain, because the defending heresy was also considered heretical and punishable by death, thus discouraging any potential advocates. The Inquisition published signs of heretical behavior for faithful Christians to watch for and report. including changing linens on Friday, buying vegetables before Pesach, blessing children. Well, actually, I think I'll just post this on Gap if I haven't posted it. I think I actually have, but let's just put it on Gab again. It's always a nice thing to be reminded of. What day was, what pisses off the devil. It's always a great thing to, why did we go with it? There we go. But yeah. Where did it go? Okay. And could practice their religion freely and openly. It was only The Inquisition publicized signs of heretical behavior for faithful Christians to watch for and report, including hanging linens on Friday, or changing linens, I guess, in regards to clothing, I guess, changing clothing to something, or maybe changing clothing in regards of bed, I don't know, on Friday, buying vegetables before Pesach. I don't know, that would be the festival of Pesach, the real Passover. Blessing children without making the sign of the cross. Oh, how terrible, right? Why would I ever make the cross, Fasting on Yom Kippur? Ooh. And refraining from work on the Sabbath. Interestingly enough, Jews who never converted to Christianity were not under the jurisdiction of the Inquisition. So Jews who never converted to Christianity were not under the jurisdiction of the Inquisition and could practice their religion freely and openly. It was only conversos who were considered heretics for forsaking the Christian creed and practicing Judaism. According to Rome, tortures of the Inquisition could not obtain a confession from a suspected heretic. They employed torture to extract one. Interestingly, as gruesome as these tortures were, they were designed not to spill blood, a practice forbidden under Christian law. Have you seen those torture instruments, In the rope torture, for example, the victim's hands were tied behind him and the rope was connected to a pulley. Weights were attached to the victim's legs and he was raised to the ceiling. When he was suddenly lowered, his arms and legs were painfully dislocating. The water torture consisted by laying a wet cloth over the prisoner's mouth and nostrils and running a small stream down through his throat. As the victim gagged and pulled the cloth into his throat, it was yanked away, causing excruciating pain. Torture by fire was also employed, in which the victim's feet were smeared with a flammable material and held near fire, causing a slow, painful burning. If the accused fainted during interrogation, a physician standing nearby revived him. If the official administering the torture caused the victim to die, he was not held responsible. Overall, no person was saved from the clutches of the Inquisition. Even children and pregnant women underwent these horrific tortures, and so forward and so forward. We know who the whole is, the holy, so-called holy maniac institution. We have the Nuremberg Code. Let's see here. British Medical Journal, number 77, volume 313, page 448, 7 December 1996. Introduction. The judgment by the War Crimes Tribunal at Nuremberg laid down 10 standards to which physicians must conform when carrying out experiments on human subjects in a new code that is now accepted worldwide. The judgment established a new standard of ethical medical behavior for the post-World War or the after World War II human rights era. Amongst other requirements, this document enunciates the requirements of voluntary enunciates.
Enunciate.
Okay. Say or pronounce clearly the requirements of voluntary informed consent of the human subject. The principle of voluntary informed consent protects the right of the individual to control his own body. This code also recognizes that the risk must be weighed against the expected benefit and that the unnecessary pain and suffering must be avoided. This code recognizes that doctors should avoid actions that injure human patients. The principle established by this code for medical practice now have been extended into general codes of medical ethics. Yeah, the Nuremberg Code 1947. Permissible medical experiments. The great weight of the evidence before us to affect that certain types of medical experiments on human beings, when kept within reasonable, well-defined bounds, conform to the ethics of the medical profession generally. The protagonist of the practice. I don't know, I got some big words again. The leading character or one of the major characters, an advocate or champion of a particular cause or idea, that must be it. The protagonist of the practice of human experimentation justify their views on the basis that such experiments yield results for the good of society that are unprocurable by other methods of means of study. All agree, however, that certain basis principles must be observed in order to satisfy moral, ethical, and legal concepts. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I guess. For my information, Nuremberg doctor trial. That would be interesting to actually see a documentary about it, I guess. In regards to this disgusting filth. War crimes and medical science, preventing genocide, Hitler's plan for genocide, a speech from 1939. Reducing paracetamol overdoses. Yeah, it's disgusting. Oh, you just get into disgusting, filthy. This article has a correction. Adolf Hitler gave a secret speech to his top military advisors outlining his plan for German settlements of Poland. The speech so shocked his audience that a copy was smuggled out to the British embassy. What follows is this transcript. Decision to attack Poland was arriving. View full text. Do we need to log in or whatever bullshit? Yep. Yeah. Forget it. Just don't wanna. It's just nonsense. You want me to look at the information. You don't need to have me log in. It's just, I hate it. Martin Luther's view on Antichrist. There's like 20 pages of that. I should actually read that on my mobile. So let's put that over in. Let's open this and fix it over. If you want to open anyway. But again, already know what Martin Luther believed. It's kind of problem is that others don't know. Let's put that on. As it doesn't seem to be the same. I don't know. At least it hasn't updated. But anyway, that's the Martin Luther's view on Antichrist. I don't know. Maybe I should. I could go to bed a couple of hours and then wake up again if I'm tired enough. But the Nuremberg Code, well, I guess we'll just fix that over as well. Okay. I'll take back your power in regards of. And we have something in regards of Danish things. Here we have phones for connection. Yeah, whatever. We can always look into that if we need it. Now we have more of the Psalms. Psalms things. Is that all the Psalm things? I guess we also have down here, which is probably, yeah, we are Masunda, and we also have it over here, so terrible. Oh, we can delete that one in regards to the Israeli flag. It would be interesting to get an Israeli flag like that, but or we can just copy it to Gap. Yes, they would. Oh my. There we go. Just put, there we go. Post it. And we can actually take the edit and just copy. Go. And just put it up here, edit. Then I have one that have reacted to something on Gap. Usually it doesn't really happen much. Most people ban me anyway. Oh, someone just liked my post. Well, anyway. Okay, we can close that flag thing. Oh, I still have a lot of tabs open for sure, which would be nice to just close some of them at least. Let's see here. We have, this is in regards of, let's move that over here, and this one over here, and this one over here, and let's just like German again. German, more German in regards to that. And this is not that one, but okay, well, let's put it over here. And this is yeah, Gentian whistle, but not. And where we have something more in regards of. That's terrible with all the. And I was ordering a white flag, but I don't have any resources at the moment. In regards to solar panels. What is it today? It's Thursday. Okay. Well, I guess you can't swim either. In regards of that one, I could close the Antichrist Exposed and still awaiting the book. Inventing America's First Immigration Crisis. Take Back Your Powers.
The Black Pope man is murdered.
The Black Pope and his murder man, but there's a specific poem I would like to write out. Sort of. Well, I'll see if I can find the poem, I guess, and then maybe download. If I probably already have it downloaded, but.
No wonder Nicolini, the historian of the order, states, draw the character of the Jesuit as he sings and London, and you will not recognize the portrait.
So, yeah, it's annoying that the browser itself doesn't actually load all the web pages in the background, so it only loads when you actually push it, and then you need to wait, and that's just, you know, bullshit pretty much. But it's incredible how much browsers are using of just to be able to run things, you know. Have all these pages, and it needs to load every single one of them nearly, instead of just loading them in the background automatically. I don't know if there's an option to load, see an option to load all pages in Opera in the background. Let's see if they have an option. That would be nice. Just tired of yeah, I don't know. I should use another browser really. Yeah. Sadly, it's the Opera I'm always coming back to. It's just loading, you know. It's just I just wanna, you know, begin to use the the pages, right? But oh no. Christian history timeline, the People's Reformation. Oh, we have different things here as well. That is very interesting. And we have this article is from Christian Historical Magazine, Reformation, which you can also download. So that's some Danish Palladius. Well, is it still? Yeah, it's still lightning. You know, it's pretty nice. It gives a good amount of, you know, it's not much, but at least you can see where you are. And that seems to be a pretty good book as well in regards to the. Do I need to? That's incredible. It's all just having problems in regards to loading. Maybe I should stop the stream. That's not really much to do. But it's interesting that while moving my things from one memory card to the other, this became hugely hot. But the one that was sitting in this thing didn't become hot at all. You know, it's just a thing and you just put it in, and just an SD thing. But this one became hugely hot, so I do wonder if it's actually the USB key itself that, you know, by converting heats up and thereby heats the card up, because it really, you know, becomes very hot. So I don't know. Okay, so what I need to do is fix this one, I guess. See if I can make a drive more so I can install Linux. And I guess I could actually just take the one. Then I should probably start with the quick, because then I don't need to do it all over if it actually works. See here, G-parted. Yep, let's push that in. We need password bullshit again, that's all that. Oh yeah, maybe I can actually log in as root and then I actually haven't tried that. Let's try to lock screen. Oh, that's the lock screen. What about if I can I new login? No, well, maybe not. It's log out. See, log out. Okay, let's try that. And let's see root. No, that didn't work. That's terrible. I heard that the root was a user, but maybe not. Would have been nice. So we have this one on mount. So I can resize and move this, I guess. This is the STA1, and I guess it has to be the STA1, right? It doesn't, yeah, I think it does. So if we can... Apparently we can't resize it. Won't allow me to resize it. Delete copy format. Manage flags. Check. Okay. Oh yeah, I can't. No, it won't allow me to change the size of the drive. So what I will be needing to do, of course, is to just annihilate some space compared to the other space, if it's even possible to do. Okay. Could be interesting also to try to run it from okay, let's just close it down, I guess. Close that down as well. Of course I could copy, actually you could just copy all the data from this one over to the computer and run it from there. 21 gigabytes. Let's see, we should have enough. Yeah. Okay. So let's just make a folder and make it HX64 TB NTFS. There we go. And open up that and just copy this. Copy, and move it over, and I can just use it on the computer or my portable applications. It will take a little time to copy it over, a couple of hours probably, and then I can just take it out and check how it actually is set up and look into the new micro SD thing and see if I can actually make 2 drives. If we can make 2 drives, and the question is, how much do I want to give the Linux system? 150 gigabytes seems to at least be more than enough. It depends on how much I'm going to use the Linux system. 150 gigabytes. If I have 150 gigabytes, and then the rest for the other drives, will be around 850 gigabytes. Not going to be 150 gigabytes, but probably something of 700 something. I don't know if 150 gigabytes. You know, we need those. I guess we need. Usually it's not needed to have. What do you call it? Usually it's not needed to have a swap, thing. It's using 765 kilobyte on the swap here. Some say it's not good to have a swap in regards of memory cards, I think, but I think it's going to do much of a. But yeah, it's that's a good question. How much swap do I want to give it? I could give it, well, 10 gigabytes seems to be way too. I'm not even sure. With all the RAM that is usually at disposal, At least if we give it 10 gigabytes, we shouldn't. This just seems to be wasted, wasted thing that I probably won't ever use. So it seems to be way too much. 10 gigabyte. I don't know. I think it's way over the. I don't think I will ever use 10 gigabyte. It depends, I guess, in regards how much I use the system, but am I ever going to use? I don't think so. 5 gigabyte, you could do that as well. 1 gigabyte. 1 gigabyte could be probably more than enough. And again, it depends on how much a computer actually have. And I guess I should think of worst case scenario in regards of things. Let's see what we have. This one, and then we have the FAT32. I guess it's like this new system thing. I can't remember overall how that works out. And why I actually used to know. Oh yeah, maybe that problems in regards to fixing the other thing. I can't remember. Well, it works, so I'm not going to do so it doesn't work anymore. But yeah, that's a good question. 115 gigabytes. That's seems to be way overkill as well for Linux. I think. Although I did have actually a Linux where I filled it up. Well, that was on the USB actually. That was terrible. I think I only had like 20 megabytes or something like that for that. So that's yeah. Of course, I don't want to fill it up because I have problems in regards to logging in. So 150 gigabytes. Yeah. 105. Well, then 10 swap. 10 gigabyte swap, I think, and then the rest for the storage. Is that fair? I think that seems to be pretty fair. 150 gigabytes and 10 gigabyte here, and around whatever. Well, that will be 840 gigabytes, but of course it will be less than that. But yeah, I don't know. Yep. Yeah, 150 gigabytes. Hopefully that will be more than enough for the system. It should be more than enough. It should be actually overkill to have 150 gigabytes on the Linux. So, but yeah, I think 150 gigabyte. We can always see how much I actually end up getting used on it. 10 gigabyte swap and the rest for storage. That should also be more than enough storage. I'm not using that much storage on the on it. I think I used 300 gigabytes, 400. I've deleted a lot. Of course, a backup of the website would be nice to also have on it. That's 100 gigabytes. Portable applications as well. It's going to be some gigabytes as well, but I, still think, should still be far from filling the whole thing. Okay. Anyway, copying, that's still 2 hours and 15 minutes. And then I will look into the USB key and see how it's made and see if I can. I should probably just start with the newest card because that's what I'm going to want to use, because when it works, it works. I don't want to do it again all over. Pretty much. So that's great. If it's possible, I don't know if it's possible. We'll see. I think I need some fish. break. Maybe some sleep. Well, yeah, how much I'm actually using, can I see that on, oh, it's not, can I like, manage flag information, can I like, refresh devices or something, can I, no, reconnect it, let's see it. I guess I can take it out and in again, and refresh. Still doesn't show. That's interesting. It shows how much that is, left. It doesn't show how much it's used. I think it was 350 gigabytes. Oh, I'm pretty smelling when I'm taking that vitamin C. Yeah, 350 gigabytes. That's what I'm using. So that seems to be pretty good, It's lower than 400 gigabytes. That was another card. So yeah, 150 for Linux, 10 in regards to swap, and then, well, let's see if it's possible. I can't remember if I tried on some of the cards to make multiple, we'll see how the mobile reacts to it as well. Of course it needs to not react and ruin my system. It has to be like a hidden thing, really. That is just, where it's just possible to just take it out and, well, I don't have one of those small USB things either. Oh well. I don't have only fish to eat. Getting a little tired of the fish, I guess. Anyway, I think I'll stop now. Take care, all of you. May the Lord be with you. Ye should be most precious girl, and the spirit of truth be in us all.